Welcome to the Cycles of Radiance podcast, a weekly conversation tailored for Gen X Black women and women of color who balance faith, family, friendship, career, and love. Through storytelling and laughter, we embrace the triumphs, challenges, and aspirations experienced by women of color. Your hosts, Joanna Kemper, Dana Middleton, and Stacey Givens, are faith-filled entrepreneurial women who are redefining success on our journey towards well-being. Find us on Instagram at Cycles of Radiance.
Seriously, I said it jokingly earlier, but no, challenge accepted. Like literally, I still don't want your little paper, but challenge accepted.
You don't want the little check boxes?
Little check boxes.
With that in mind, Dana, are you thinking of a particular word for 2024 to help you with all that? Do you even believe in that, or?
No, I do. I absolutely do. And I have not been able to settle on one word. So what I was able to narrow it down to was I am. And what does that mean? Because I can't separate all of these different things that I am, depending on who walks in the room or the task at hand, or, but what I can do is control how I process that I am. And so if I am doing all of these things, am I tired? Am I sick of it? Or am I capable of pushing through it? Am I capable of streamlining and creating a system that works for me? Am I capable of mandating the support from the people around me instead of saying, I got it, and just doing it, and sometimes harboring some resentment because I'm doing it? Like it's easier to do it than just to say, hey, I don't care if you like it or not, I need you to do this. And that's been my method, not always the best method. So it's breaking down what I am giving life to in a number of roles and responsibilities and instances, to try to get to a point where I feel like I can handle all of it, and not just handle all of it, but enjoy it. Yeah, exactly. So that's what I came up with. What is this I am?
I think
in mind and spirit.
Yeah, because we've all been on. That's how we started this journey, right? Of we're trying to do all the things and not putting the right boundaries, and it's not successful. So when you say like, yeah, my MO is to just go ahead and do it, push through it and get it done, I think you've realized, oh, well, that's not exactly the best method, and it doesn't serve my body, my mind, and my spirit. So how do I reassess that? So it sounds like you're also kind of inviting yourself into yourself to understand, how am I existing and thriving or not thriving in all these different facets of my life?
Yeah. So, I mean, in what ways am I speaking lack? Whether I mean to or not. Because I 100% believe that we have the power to create, and that we are responsible for how we respond, for what we create for ourselves. And some of the things that we don't even think about, that we just kind of automatically say, how is that showing up? How is that showing up in life? The things that I say I want, am I really acting towards those, or am I buzzing, complaining over here, even though this is what I'm saying I want? And the two, they don't match. So I'm trying to play a better match game.
It's almost like, how do your daily, I mentioned this on Instagram, it's like we design goals, or we have wants, desires, but then our daily rhythms don't align with those goals and desires. And then we get frustrated because we're not achieving them. And it's like, well, when you look at the day to day, how we operate day to day, it's not matching up.
It's not matching.
So you got to fix that.
Yep. And today I just have been, put in a position where I have to add your ass is going to hurt to the list.
Yeah.
And okay. Bet.
I hope. I mean, you could order a cushion.
Could order a cushion.
Could
order a cushion.
For my outdoor bike, I have a larger saddle.
Oh, there you go. See?
I love the technical terminology.
Accepting the challenge doesn't mean that you have to like really be tortured through it. You could find a way to maybe, I don't know, get a cushion, Dana.
She said a cushion. See,
just get a cushion.
Get a cushion.
Get you a cushion.
Get a cushion to support my other cushion. That's what
there you go. Yeah.
Hey, your cushion wasn't designed for that kind of.
Not in that triangle.
It's a very tiny triangle. You know what it is not designed for? Never mind. I'm not gonna say it.
It's the truth. It is the truth. It is. Again, who was designing these seats? Who was designing the seat? Because they didn't look like me, baby. They were not carrying around the trunk I carry. I tell you that. Mm-mm. They didn't have these biscuits and jelly and syrup that I serve on a what? They didn't have that.
No, they did not.
They had 2 pieces of wonder.
Yes.
And I had some fluffy biscuits. Heaped with jelly. You hear me? So yeah, it's a whole different thing. Like who's in the room designing, y'all, because you're not thinking about the wide swath of people who need a particular design. Sure, right? Like exercise is not comfortable. We know that. We know that growth is not comfortable. It's tearing down something. It's breaking through to grow. We know that. But to your point, Jay, it doesn't mean that it has to be like this painful throughout the process. I was saying to a friend of mine as we were talking about growth yesterday, I was thinking about trees and how you drive by, like especially in older neighborhoods, you see buckled sidewalks and buckled driveways, and you see these massive trees in the yard. And it's because the tree has made room. The tree said, I'm going to grow no matter what's in the way. And the tree pushes through concrete. I was like, that's a powerful root right there. To push through concrete and buckle a sidewalk to continue to grow. And I thought, well, damn, if a tree is determined to not be stifled and continue to grow upward, that it will push through concrete, then I'm willing to push through some things to grow. I was realizing growth is not this flowery term that is often used. Like, are you growing? Are you growing? You want to grow. And we say it like it's just like it's organic.
It's a beautiful thing.
Right. Like no effort is required. And I'm like, that's a damn lie.
Commercial.
Okay, people skipping around, waving tampons and maxi pads and jumping in the pool. And I'm like, y'all stop lying.
No.
Stop lying. Stop telling people that you want to grow. Let's all grow together, as though it doesn't require effort and intentionality, as though you are not going to be breaking through concrete. You are, if you choose to grow. Again, it's a choice, right? You can choose to stagnate and be like, yeah, well, you know what? I'm just going to let my roots just kind of fold into themselves. You could do that. But I don't think that that's how we're designed, though. I think we are really and truly designed to be willing to break through some things, to tear some things down. When he put that out there about the definition, the Greek definition of growth, it threw me, because I'm like, that is not how we talk about growth at all. Even when people say it about their job, I'm not growing at work. Well, what does that mean? What does that? Are you breaking down some barriers? Are you tearing down some obstacles? This relationship isn't growing. Okay, well, then you're not putting in the effort, because if you were, then some things would be torn down and torn out. You would be cutting through some concrete. So I don't know. For me, it was just I was reflecting on it. Like, my pastor just he threw a wrench in there for me. You know, he was like, he talked about the boy Jesus, and he said, you know, he's like, we hear about Jesus when he's like 12 or whatever, and then we don't really see him again till he's 30. He's like, but he had to grow. And he says, the Bible says he grew in stature and in favor with God and with man. And that's when he dropped the Greek on us about what growth was. He's like, if Jesus grew, don't you have to grow? I was like, let me pack my purse and leave. This was heavy.
And amen.
Right.
I think also that definition puts the onus back on us to grow versus expecting our external circumstances to change for us. We are the ones that have to cause the change and grow. So I think that definition is great. It just puts the onus back on us, which is empowering in some ways.
It is. I mean, and that's, you're right. Because if you look at it for what it is, you know, people are quick to complain. I've done this, you know. So I say people, but I've done this.
We are those people.
We're those people. Where we're quick to complain and be like, I don't have control over something, or this isn't working for me because somebody else. We're so externally driven. We're externally motivated. We allow everything that's going on outside of ourselves to shape us without recognizing, number one, our power, our control, and our responsibility, because it's us. Everything. I couldn't say, I have the best excuse in the world. That seat makes my ass hurt. Well, no, that's not a good excuse.
Not with Stacey.
There's no good excuse for anything, because anything that you want, that desire is strong, and that's an indicator of something that you need to do. So you can either honor it or you can ignore it, but you get the rewards and the consequences of whatever, Stacey, the choice is, whatever choice you make. But it comes back on us every time. Absolutely. I don't care what the man ain't doing. I don't care what the husband ain't cleaning. The shit comes back on us one way or another.
Absolutely. I love thinking about how nature responds to just the challenges, right? Nature was, when I look at trees, I have to say, like, I'm fascinated at times by what trees will do. Because if you drive down your street and you notice that there's like a you know, the telephone poles and the lines running through the poles, and you'll see how the tree has grown around it. Especially when it's like in the winter, because you can actually see how the branches have just folded themselves around the power lines. And I find it so fascinating. They are going to find a way to continue the upward movement. They don't stop. They move up, and then they branch out, and then they continue to grow up. Meanwhile, their roots are going down deeper, and then, like I said, breaking through concrete. And I just find it so fascinating that even when it's windy, even when it's raining, even when there's a hurricane, even when there's some sort of a storm, the tree is still standing tall, and it's still going to grow. It's going to do what it needs to do. And I'm like, we are so similar. Like, all the stuff that happens to a tree happens to us, right? We're affected by wind. We're affected by rain. We're affected by storms. Sometimes they catch us off guard. We weren't expecting a flash storm or flash flood in Texas in June. And here it comes. But we still have to figure out a way to stand tall in the midst of all of that. And I'm fascinated at how a tree is going to do what it's supposed to do no matter what. no matter
It's not going to
what.
stand there and go, there's a line right there. I can't get around it. But, and you stop
Exactly.
growing. Yeah.
Exactly. It's not going to be bothered by, well, the rain. There's just so much rain, or the snow, or the ice has formed on its branches, and the branches break off, and the tree is like, yep, I guess I lost a branch. There's so many branches in my yard right now, and it happens every year that the branches fall off, but the tree still grows.
It's cleansing itself.
Right? Like, it's not like it's losing. I mean, even as it's losing something, it's still producing other things.
Something, yeah.
So I don't know.
I think its roots keep on deepening. So I guess when we talk about humans, it's like, how are we getting more rooted, and in what are we getting more rooted in to strengthen us so we can continue that upward growth, regardless of the circumstances, what's going on, whatever happens. We're still finding our way upwards. But the only way to do that is to really we got to get stronger foundationally in our roots, right? So that we can have the strength and the resilience to grow, the strength and the resilience to shed, and to absorb, to grow.
And recognizing it as a shed and not a loss, because there's no void. Nature abhors a void, right? So even though you see this thing fall off and it's in the yard, there's something right there behind it that's healthier, that's better. But we're so often focused on, damn, all these branches in my yard, my tree losing shit. Is there a problem? And now I got to clean it up, instead of the fact that, look, there's about to be something new coming from that shed. Yes. Perspective is a mug.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. One year my sprinkler system went out. I didn't realize it wasn't working. And I started to notice that the tree in my front yard was browning, and I started to panic. I was like, oh my gosh, my tree is dying. And a friend of mine was like, he has become, well, that's another topic for another day, somebody that I ran into at church who I was in need of help. And I was looking around for somebody to help me. And I was like, that man right there looks like he knows stuff. Older man, white hair. I said, he knows some stuff. I'm going to ask this man to help me. And it was an example of the Lord saying, you have not because you ask not. You said, I need help. And he's standing right there. You better ask for help. That man and his wife have become so important in my life. This has been probably 3 years. So anyway, he had come by and I was like, what am I going to do? Look at my tree. He said, oh, you just need to water it. It's going to be fine. Just water it. Just get the sprinkler system fixed. The browning leaves will turn green again. Just water it. And I thought about that, and he was right, and there is a reserve in the soil, right? There's a reserve of moisture in the soil. There's still water in the roots. It's not that they're completely dry. They're just not getting enough moisture. And so to your point, Jay, of like, what are we rooted in? Like there's still moisture in our roots, right? There's still some moisture there. There's still some nutrients, but it's not enough. And so you can start to see it because the growth, there's some browning of the leaves. Our tips are not as green as they used to be. And I don't know, there's just something about looking at what's happening in nature. Like I have plants in my house and I start looking at I'm like, what's going on with you? Why are you browning? Something's happening. I need to get inside this soil and figure out what's going on with you, because you're not thriving the way you were before. Your leaves aren't perky the way they were before. One of the stems is up like this and the other one has bent over to the side. And I'm like, something's not right. Are you not getting enough sun? Because part of you seems to be okay, but then the other part of you is all leaning to the side. What do I need to do differently? So again, when I'm looking at my plants that way and looking at the trees in my yard that way, and I'm looking at my body, I'm like, there's some inputs here. Something's got to change. There's a combination of things. And I don't think it's 1,500 things. I think it's a handful of things. And when that combination is right, that there's growth, right? Again, growth the pulling away of something, the tearing down of barriers, so that there's an experience there. And I'm convinced of it. I am absolutely convinced. I'm like, Stacey, what's the combination for you? And it's different for every person, just like it's different for every tree. Every person needs a different set of inputs. I could decide, hey, I need to do 2-a-day cardio, morning weight train, and a clean diet for a period of time. And someone else would try it and it doesn't work for them because they're a different tree. They're a different body. They're a different chemical makeup. So
also different seasons.
Exactly.
Different seasons.
Absolutely.
So in different seasons, that tree needs different things, right?
Yes.
So just like us.
Yes.
I think sometimes we get stuck on this one set of ingredients and it turns out, okay, well, that's what you need right now. But then maybe a year or two from now, you need to reassess that and change the ingredients, which is why that shedding process is so important, so that you can make room for the things that are actually going to sustain you and help you grow. We really need to do the garden within, because this is all tying together into that book.
Absolutely.
That we are nature, because we were designed by God, who created nature and created us. And so just like he says that you can tell that someone is a believer by the fruits of the Spirit, right? We can tell if we're in good well-being, if we are generating the fruit. And when we're not generating the fruit, we're turning kind of stale, kind of brown, kind of stuck, kind of frustrated. We're just not generating the fruit. And so instead of looking externally for what can I fix, it's like, okay, well, let me check my root system here and see what needs. Pay attention. Let's see what needs to be nurtured here at the root, so then the whole being can flourish, versus just trying to take care of the exterior. Because you can spray some green on it and it'll be fine, but it'll look fine.
Right. It'll look green,
but it's not well, right? It's the brown is still going to show up. So the same thing with us, like we try to cover it up, the symptoms, but we're not taking care of the root problem.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So, I have the physical book, and then I got it on Audible because I was like, again, if I'm going to be doing my evening cardio, I can listen to it while I'm out walking. But I think that to your point of we can spray stuff on it, which I think is something that we tend to do. We put creams on things, we put lotions on things, we put potions on things, but it's the inside that needs the cleansing. Right? You can do all of the surface topical cleansing you want, but if the inside isn't cleaned out, then the outside will never match, ever. You'll have to use that much more. Exactly. And the issues will shine through. Right? You see people who have put on cakes of makeup trying to cover up certain things. And I'm like, well, you might want to go inside. You might want to figure out what's going on in that gut. You may want to figure out, what are you eating that is causing the skin issues? Because again, it's about the inputs.
What you put in is what you get out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's so simple, but it's so hard to grasp and remember. But it's so simple.
Execute.
Yeah.
Like we don't execute it consistently.
It's the things that our parents told us, though, right? Our parents told us growing up. Most parents will tell you, stop eating all that candy. Most parents will tell you, I don't see any vegetables on your plate. Most parents will tell you that's a whole lot of bread, but I don't see anything green. And they're telling us this as we're children. And we don't listen. Because we're kids, right? Kids they don't pay attention to that. They don't listen to their parents. They like the sweet stuff.
They don't listen to what you say, but they look at your plate.
There you go. Yeah. And then we get grown. And now we're paying people to tell us what our parents told us.
Already told us.
Right? We're paying somebody to tell us how to eat. And our parents told us that when we were 5, when we were 8, when we were 12. But we get 40 and we're shelling out money for someone to tell us about macronutrients. Our parents told us that in very plain terms, rudimentary. They told us in very plain terms
You know what? Send me the list. Go on, put the list.
She's gonna add to that list like a whole food section for macros and little check.
Okay.
Send me list.
Did you eat your vegetables today?
Okay. They would tell you to drink water, right? When they tell you stop drinking all that soda, and they would tell you to drink some water. Wouldn't they tell you that? And we went. Then later on in life, we're like, well, I read this book that says that I have to drink 8 ounces of water every hour. Well, your parents told you that. That's not revolutionary, y'all. It's not. We didn't light upon something new. They already told us that. They knew.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we watched them with their skin looking just fabulous, and we couldn't figure out why. It was not Pond's cold cream.
Right.
They were eating things that were from the earth early on. Now, I know our diet wasn't great, you know, as a whole. I get that. But just thinking about the things that I was taught that I let go of, that I'm now having to come back to when they said, go to bed, right? Jay is quick to tell me that you need to just lay down. You need to rest. But think about how many times your parents would say that to you. Like she told one of the babies that the other day. Baby girl came to the door. Jay turned around and was like, go lay down. Yeah. I said, Jay's answer is forever going to be go lay down. You over there rubbing your eyes, go lay down. You look tired, go lay down. Look like you about to fuss, go lay down.
Right.
And our didn't your parents tell you that? Didn't your grandparents tell you that when you were right? You would be keyed up with a sibling or mad about something, your toy broke or whatever, and they were quick to tell you need a nap. And you didn't want to, but you went to go lay down and you fell straight to sleep.
Straight to sleep. You've been tired. I got a story from yesterday. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, you know how many times I stood in our old house, 6 years old. I could come out of my room, stand in the hall, and look straight into the family room to watch the Jeffersons. They came on at 8:00, past my bedtime, but I'm trying to watch the Jeffersons. And Mama, now I realize that she knew a lot of times, that I was standing there, but she also knew, and this is true to this day. Once I start getting irritable, take your ass to bed. My husband will tell me today, you need to go to bed. And I'm like, leave me alone. I'm fine. And lo and behold, if I don't have one just like me. And she was up, but she's a night owl like me. So she was up yesterday and I could just see it in her. It was 9:00 yesterday morning. She said, I'm stay up all day. I'm trying to get my sleep schedule back. No, the hell you're not. We're not here with you. Not here. No, ma'am. I will blame a lot of things on my husband, but that nastiness when you're sleepy, I own it. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. And it's real stuff. But that's been my thing. I don't want to go to sleep. I might miss something. Y'all are laughing and I'm not there. I can't take a nap, you know. But at the same time, I'm about to cry because
you're so
I watched something pink with my white clothes and now I'm mad. No, just go to sleep.
Just go to sleep. You're overreacting because you need rest.
Right.
Yeah, that I say it so much because this is an ongoing lesson for me. You know, when somebody asks you, like, what is a lesson that God is constantly trying to show you? And you don't get it. Or they say the universe, but we know what they mean. And so for me, it's just put it down and go lie down. Like I'm notorious to be like, well, I could push this, or I could just finish this one more thing and then I'll go lie down, or I could just do, you know, this. And so yesterday was a prime example. My shoulder is in dire pain. I have the ice pack and everything. And I'm sitting there trying to type and do this whole document that I'm trying to work on. And finally, I just hear this voice say, like, Joanna, please, just lie down. Because I could not make headway on the document because I needed creativity and it was not coming. I was trying to force it. And I was like, Joanna, go walk around. So I did that. I walked around the house a little bit. I drank more water. I had the tea and I sat back down. I had tried like now for hours. Finally, it's like oh my gosh, my stubbornness. Finally, I heard that voice and I was like, you know what? Let me just for once listen. So I put it all down and I went and lied down on the couch, put the kiki on, so called blanket here, and just lie down. And I immediately zonked out. right? And I woke up and I finally felt some relief.
Mm.
And that voice was like, I was trying to tell you all day that you needed rest. You should have just done it from the beginning because you got nothing accomplished today.
You spent 5 hours fighting and all you needed was a 45-minute nap and now you're good.
And now I can't use the time, right? Because now I'm going to be moving on to other things. But it was just, I said, the constant lesson that God is trying to show me, like, can you just lie down in faith and believe that it's going to be fine? Mm-hmm. Just lie down because you need some sleep right now.
That shift from what society expects to what God expects you to do. Yes. The reward is so much richer and instantaneous.
Girl.
Instantaneous.
Girl, the stubbornness is deep, though. It's so deep.
Mm-hmm. It is.
So, that's why I'm always saying it to people, because I know I need it.
Quick and in a hurry to tell somebody to go lay down.
I do, because I see it. And then I'm like, Joanna, this is for you, too. You're like, you need to just go. Like, and part of it is guilt, too, as well. Like, there's like all these other factors. It's a different conversation. But it's like, all these different factors playing in your mind as to why you shouldn't lie down. And sometimes it's just like, you're not going to get anything else accomplished.
Exactly.
And that's been my lesson. Like, nothing else gets done. You just waste a whole bunch of time and you get totally frustrated, even more than you were in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yes. Just lie down. If you're not going to produce it, if you're not going to do it, just go lie down.
You might as well go to sleep.
Go to sleep.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because you can't think when your head is cloudy. Like, I was realizing that this week because I woke up Tuesday. Well, it was in the night, maybe 2 a.m. and my throat was sore and I was like, oh no.
Here we go.
So Tuesday morning, I was like, just go to work. So I get up, suit up as we do. And my throat was sore all day. So I had made this brew, lemons and oranges and turmeric and pepper and the whole nine, right? So I'm drinking that throughout the day, ACV, all of this throughout the day. And it doesn't make a difference because Wednesday was worse. And I couldn't get my temperature regulated and the sinus and the this and the that and the this and the that. And so I messaged my sister and I was like, now I was feeling fine when I saw you because I saw her on the 30th. And she was like, yeah, you were fine. And I'm like, and you're fine? She's like, yeah, I don't feel anything. And so again, I'm like, what are the inputs? What's going on, Stacey? What did you eat? What did you do? Because it's not like I felt like I was exposed to someone or something or some sickness or whatever. I'm like, there's something going on inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
So someone had messaged me and my head was so foggy, right? Because my sinuses are inflamed and swollen. And I was like, I can't even respond to this email because my head is cloudy. I can't think straight. And I realized that happens a lot. Trying to perform and produce and create with having a foggy, cloudy mind is not going to work. I have to have clarity. Like, it can't be, just this muddiness. So I was in the bed all day Wednesday, all day Thursday. Today is the first time I've actually gotten up and gotten dressed.
Wow.
So I was like, I didn't have the mental acuity to do anything. And I think that there's a lot to be said for, to your point about laying down, about resting, allowing the body to heal itself, and really believing that the body can heal itself. We have been taught, so many things about medicines and automatically selecting a medicine. And I'm not saying that, I'm not one of those people who's like, don't get your meds or don't be vaxxed. That's not what I'm talking about. But I think there is a place and there's room to think about, what are you putting inside of yourself that is causing the issues that you feel? When it's a chronic thing, you really do have to think about what the inputs are. Because it's easy to say, oh, I'll just take a Claritin. I'll just take a Zyrtec. I'll just take these antibiotics. But if you could switch your diet out, if you could create the right combos for you, should you try that? As well as, right? I'm not saying just drop the Claritin or whatever. But and that, like I said earlier, that's the space that I'm in. Is like I want to know what's the right set for me, because I know this isn't normal. And I think those are the other things that we have to think about. You know when it's not normal. You know when your plant isn't growing normally. You know when your body's not feeling normal. You know when your car isn't running right. If you put low-grade gas in your car and it's knocking, you know that you haven't put the right grade of gas in the car. You know you haven't put the right oil in your car because it's knocking. It isn't running right. You know when the tread on your tires is low because your car is it's running funny and the road noise is loud. You're like, why is this car so loud? It's not usually this loud. Yeah, because it's your tires. And you start thinking about, okay, so what are the inputs? Or if it runs a little bit wobbly, you're like, oh, I need to balance my tires. Oh, wait a minute, I need air in all of the tires. There's certain things, there's these indicators in life, I believe. And I think sometimes we blow past these indicators, and we blow past them for so long until there's like a breakdown, whether that's physically, like just blowing past the indicator, like the body is like, I don't feel so good. I'm inflamed. And we're like, you know what? I'm good. I'm going to keep on going. And then all of a sudden the body's like, it's yellow. Okay. It's red. And now we really do have to lay down, to your point, Jay, like, because the body has said, you're not giving me the right stuff. Your car says the same thing. Your plants say the same thing. I would dare say that your kids probably say the same thing, because you can see, wait a minute, they're not getting the right thing. They're not, something's not right. This one's looking funny. This one's doing this. Okay, I need to do something different because they're acting strange. And this is a new behavior. And to your point, Jay, it's stages, right? I know my parents had to. We hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Our desire is to empower, support, and elevate you on this collective journey towards a fulfilled life. We invite you to connect and find community with us on Instagram as Cycles of Radiance.